So everybody raise their right hand and repeat after me. I promise and will make every endeavor to make this Down Beach Buzz real estate webcast the best it ever has been for February 16th, 2023. So help me God.
So help me God.
Very good. Very good.
Promise. All right.
Get his left hand up.
So we are trying, I know I kind of screwed that up, but we are trying to consistently do a live webcast, a Down Beach Buzz real estate webcast, probably every Thursday, right about 11 o'clock. We think that's a good time for people to check in before they come down the shore. Maybe they're more interested in moving or selling or renting. You know, this is all about Margate, Ventnor, and Longport, the Down Beach real estate webcast. And here we are. We have Sherry Lilienfeld from Apex Prime and EXP Realty, and Paul Skolage. Paul, I got to practice. Paul Skolage.
Doing well.
I was pretty close, from Guaranteed Rate. He's the mortgage expert. Plus, he chimes in a lot about all the different financial aspects of getting through a real estate deal. I don't really mention my name very often, do I?
What is your name?
Because if people knew that they were taking real estate advice from Mel Toxic or Mel Taylor or John Jurgatis or my very first nickname, JJ. I never liked that. It was not very masculine. All right.
Good show. That was a good show, JJ.
All right. So today's program, the Margate and the Ventnor and the Longport real estate webcast with EXP Realty and Apex Prime, Down Beach Buzz for February 16th. And that's 2023. And today we're going to focus on things like the mortgage rates, a quick hit on that. Inventory. Is there enough out there? Is there enough affordable homes? I don't want to say affordable housing, but, you know, homes that are within reach for the average middle American. Short-term rentals. Ventnor had a big, giant meeting about that the other day. We're going to look at some of the comments that the Ventnor commissioners heard. They got an earful, like close to 3 hours of comments. And new condo rules. It's tougher to, well, we love condos, but there's some things you need to know about it. There's some tighter, more strict requirements if you are looking to finance or you're worrying about expenses in regards to condos. And today's program is sponsored by Gilchrist Restaurant. Love those blueberry pancakes. And go out and take a look at their website at gilchristrestaurant.com. And my place where I get to work on my coif. That's Sherry. That's the other Sherry in my life. That's Sherry Champion, and that's Steve from Steve's Barbershop. They got a great 1-2 punch over there at Dorset Avenue, right there in Ventnor, Salon 309, and it's all part of Steve's Barbershop in Ventnor. Okay. And, of course, these two lovely, handsome folks from Guaranteed Rate and EXP. All right, Paul, let's do a quick hit on the mortgage rates. Current 30-year, please advise.
Yeah, so, you know, we've definitely seen a little spike in rates over the last couple of weeks. The Fed made their announcement last week about an increase of 0.25%. Looks like there's going to be a couple more down the road, but it seems as though that the rate increase will be limited now to 0.25%. And at some point it will stop. However, we've definitely seen a small increase in rates as we're moving here into the middle of February. So, you know, the average right now on a 30-year fixed mortgage, a good credit, you're between 6.375 and 6.5. There are some adjustments, though, when you're looking into the second home market. It's an area that both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are trying to get away from. So there's definitely other alternatives that we've been looking at when it comes to interest rates, especially in the shore market for second homes, which would be ARMs, which are adjustable rate mortgages, which come with both 5, 7, and 10-year terms. So again, quick hit today. The average right now is between 6.375 and 6.5 on a 30-year fixed mortgage.
Does that concern anybody, this trajectory of mortgage rates?
Yeah, and I think our high end, I mean, we've seen rates in the low 7s about a month and a half ago. So, you know, we're definitely trending downward, right? I think there's going to be some bumps in the road, but I think overall, you know, you look at, I think we discussed this before, you look at the early 80s, you're paying 15, 16%. So, you know, it's definitely a shock for people because what we've seen, you know, during the COVID times when you saw rates in the 3-4%, but this rates should be, in the upper fives, in my opinion, is where things will settle down and just really get the market stimulated.
Very good. Let's go to the next slide. And I believe Sherry is going to give us a bit of a inventory update. Not big news, but she does have some interesting anecdotes she can share with us. Sherry from eXp Realty.
Right. So 2 weeks ago when we did this, we were talking about the inventory rates. And one of the things I mentioned is that what the market really could use are more affordable. When I say affordable, I don't mean like the affordable housing. I mean more modestly priced homes that you can get into for less than 1.5 million. So interestingly enough, I recently listed a duplex at 649.5, and that duplex, typically when you list a duplex, you're looking at investors and it has to cash flow. I had so many showings on this property because the price point was in the 600s, but a lot of the people looking at it, that's a picture of it. It's upstairs, downstairs unit. Upstairs was 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Downstairs, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. So many people looking at it for their own personal use, to use the whole house, because overall you have 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The activity was crazy. I really didn't expect that, even though I was saying like we need more inventory at this level. 2.5 days we did the showings because it was like an open door, one after another. There's a tenant downstairs, owner upstairs. It's very disruptive to the tenant. We cut off showings at 2 o'clock on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and by Monday we were in contract. We had multiple offers on this. I can't get into the pricing of them, but there was a lot of activity and a lot of offers. Again, it's because there's nothing that comes up. This house happens to be 3 blocks from the beach. It's walking distance to Wawa and CVS, or a close proximity, a few blocks from there. So yeah, that's the upstairs unit. Anyway, it's just case in point that and if you're someone that has a nice livable home that's not a tear down, please consider listing it. You will get a lot of activity. There are just a lot of buyers out there looking for something that's not in the $2 million price range that they can live in and enjoy.
So where are we going next here, ladies and gentlemen, here on the DownbeachBUZZ Real Estate Webcast? Go to downbeachbuzz.com. What's that, Paul? Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things to talk about with Sherry's listing there is when you're buying a multi-unit on something like that, you actually can use the fair market rent on one of the units to qualify as qualifying income. So you could occupy one of them as your primary, and you could rent whether the top or the bottom out, but you do have the ability to use that fair market rent to qualify at 75% of that. So round numbers, just say that you were bringing $1,000 a month in rent, you could use 750 of that as qualifying income as the borrower. So multi-units sometimes are good in that aspect, but keep that in the back of your mind that you have the ability to use the rental income to qualify.
Does that have to be rental income? I didn't mean to cut you off, Sherry, but does that mean it's rental income from the current tenant, or what you think is going to be able to garner moving forward? Yeah. It's
called the fair market rent. So whatever the appraiser goes out and determines. So let's just say it's actually bringing in $1,000. The appraiser goes out and says, you know what? The fair market rent's really $1,500. It was under rented. You can use actually what the appraiser puts in place as the fair market rent. So again, multi-units are a great avenue for cash flow and rental income, but you do have the ability to use the rental income to qualify.
And you share?
Oh, so the question is, so like these people are going to use, the one who won the bid are going to use the whole house. So they can qualify with that rental income even if they're not going to use it? Like, how does that, do they have to sign
That's correct.
something?
So this person that was probably purchasing this property qualifies for the whole entire house without having the rental income. They're going to utilize it as one property. So in this case, the rental income doesn't have a factor, but there are someone that's looking to purchase it as a straight investment and they need the rental income to qualify, it's definitely usable income. And let's just say you wanted to buy it as a straight investment, not live in it, okay, it would be 30 or 25% down, and you can utilize both rental incomes to qualify.
Okay, great. Good to know. Yeah, and the current owner, that's how she used it. She lives upstairs, and downstairs she rented it out, and that's how she got qualified with her mortgage, I believe. So.
All right. I think, do you want to go off into this crazy world of STRs, short-term rentals? Are we ready for that?
Yeah, let's hear what happened at that meeting on the 9th.
So, I think people need to know that Margate has a 7-day, a 1-week minimum for short-term rentals. It sort of keeps down the quote-unquote riffraff. Some people think it disattracts, these one-night onlys might attract somebody who just wants to party and get the hell out of Dodge the very next day. And then some towns, they say, no, we have a minimum because we think that provides or attracts a better quality of renter. So a couple nights ago, Ventnor had a big town hall to overhaul their short-term rental deal. Because right now you can do a one-night only in Ventnor, but in Margate, like I said, neighboring Margate, you have a 1-week minimum as a short-term rental. Am I accurate so far, guys?
Yes.
All right. So if you go up, and I'm just going to play a short clip. Where is it here? I got it any second now. You might be familiar with DownbeachBUZZ. Is that a familiar site?
Yes, there is.
In your recollection?
You're doing a great job.
So when you go to the front page of DownbeachBUZZ.com and click on Ventnor 2023 short-term rental rules, you'll see my good friend Rich Gober. He's a huggable guy. You ever see Rich? Yeah. He's everywhere. I think he's a retired realtor, but he's a guy from St. Leonard's Tract, and he's a very conscientious guy, respectable guy, and he's a tough guy. He can give you a very spirited argument in a very respectful way.
In a respectful way.
Yeah. So let's listen to a few moments here of resident Rich Gober and his thoughts on Ventnor and the short-term rental issue. Is it getting too nutty? Here we go.
Good evening. My name is Richard Gober, North Beach resident, and I'm happy to see the attendance that you have tonight. The one thing that is always true, there are people here that are running this as a business that want the 1 day or less, 1 day, and there are people that are residents that are concerned about that. Airbnbs have become a business. That has happened overnight here in the last couple of years. People have bought properties just to run as a business. I own a building that I have a summer rental below me. They've been there for 20 years. They pay me $6,000 for the summer. And that's probably 1/3 of what I could get if I wanted to do the other way.
$6,000 for the summer. Sure. Can you hook me up with something like that? Can you find something like that?
That's, like you said, he could probably get 3 times the amount, but he knows the value of a good tenant, a repeat tenant. And
that's our good friend Lance Landgraf, a commissioner here in Ventnor. And this is Maria Mento, and she is the business administrator here in the lovely city of Ventnor, the city of Ventnor, or Ventnor City, we call it, right? Mayor Beth already stepped down. Mayor Beth Holtzman, she stepped down already.
Wow.
Were you guys tracking that at all?
Somewhat.
I guess you weren't. Okay.
Thank you. We knew she was stepping down. I didn't know exactly the day. Yeah.
And just another clip. This is Tim Kriebel. He's a commissioner in Ventnor, and he's in charge of public safety. And he's chiming in a little bit, talking about short-term rentals and Airbnbs. There's at least 400 of them in Ventnor. There's a fair amount of illegal short-term rentals. So at the bare minimum, there's 400. And this is not counting sober living homes, which are other controversial properties. But let's listen to how the police are dealing with short-term rentals here in Ventnor. I think I have to go to 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Let me just line it up right here. Here we go.
Well, there's 4 specific incidents.
And are they mainly in the same house that's over? Okay.
No, I don't want to give the exact.
No, that's all. I just wanted to bring that. That's it.
Well, no, I think it's important. I think we got to flesh this whole thing out.
Okay, well,
So in January, a one-night rental advertised to social media by the renter as a New Year's Eve back, resulted in an initial call and a large fight in the street, multiple arrests. Second call about 30 minutes after patrol left. The first call resulted in a shooting that left one person attended the party seriously injured and significant property damage, including neighborhood vehicles, and an estimated 50 to 60 people in attendance. Another property almost every weekend last spring from 2016 to 2020, where Friday night was one group, Saturday night was another group, and another time period responding to 2 fights and dozens of noise complaints. The third property of note is advertised as a party house back in 16 and 18. Most rentals were one night, have a party. He knows this personally because he was tasked with addressing the owners. Eventually got to the owner, removed the advertisement of a party house and curtailed some of the issues. PD responded dozens of times.
So how about that?
Wow.
As a realtor, Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty and Apex Prime, how does a realtor deal with a client that they want to buy, they want to lease, they want to do something, but they have to deal with that touchy subject of short-term rentals and Airbnb? How does it affect your life as a realtor?
What do you mean when someone wants to buy something and make it a party house?
Well, I guess just give me your sense of how Airbnbs have affected your daily life as a realtor here in the Down Beach area.
Well, so like as a realtor, we don't rent out weekends and like the minimum we typically will rent out for someone is a week, and that's in the summertime, and the prices, as you know, are higher in the summer. So we typically, and I say typically because there's no rule about this, we'll do 1 week minimum, 1 month, full summer, half summer. That's how so we're not doing those. I send people to Airbnb or VRBO when they call me for short-term rental. I just say, I don't do that. I know in some other municipalities like Ocean City, when they do their rentals, because they do a lot of short-term rentals, they don't even show the property. Like we show the property. We meet people, we show them the property, we get very involved. So that's how we handle it in terms of, if you want to call it, screening for the right people. And you know, we ask a lot of questions, and the agent who's representing the owner will ask us a lot of questions. So we're very more hands-on. It's not this blind rental to some strange entity. It's funny, when I was listening to that, I was thinking when my kids were graduating high school and they asked me to get a prom house for them. And I'm like, no way. Like,
Yep.
I am not going near that. Like, no, because that is a party situation, as you know. So that's how I handle it.
All right, so let's go through some of the comments. I transcribed them. I wrote them down, the most interesting ones or the most crazy ones. So here are some options. So the other night, Ventnor just had another town hall to see how people feel about changing the rules of short-term rentals. Right now, Ventnor has 0 minimum. I mean, you can do 1 night if you want, whereas in Margate, you have to have a minimum of a 7-night stay.
Wow.
So here is some of the commenting the Ventnor commissioners heard the other night on Thursday, February 9. So some of the options, these are some of the recommendations. They're going to, in a couple of months, they're going to go back and try to vote on this stuff. So this is still a work in progress. They might limit the number of short-term rentals someone can operate. I bet Sherry has some thoughts about that.
Yeah.
Require proof of liability insurance, noise monitors on the property, video cameras on the property, occupancy limits, post them right there clearly on the property. How about limiting the numbers of units that can be rented out in one building? Occupancy loads, cameras, review the cameras for potential violations. Let me just finish a few things here.
They're all good points.
Yeah, so short-term rentals can sometimes attract riffraff, absentee. How about this, Sherry? Absentee landlords can ruin a neighborhood. Any thoughts on that one?
I mean, well, clearly, if someone is living there themselves, they're going to have more of a say on who they're renting to and care more who they're renting to, and not be, just like I said, renting sight unseen, no hands-on. It's the same thing as if we as realtors, monitor and screen who's they're renting to, like making sure they understand the rules. Like, okay, it's one thing when you post occupancy, but if someone's already planning to come down and there's carloads of people coming, are they going to say, "Oh, by the way, you need to turn around"?
They're coming.
So they're coming. They're coming. So
How do you, when somebody buys a home, they buy it through Sherry, and then they have to maybe get some financing. How do you make sure, Paul, that you're not giving them a rate? They say they're going to live in it, but they're really going to Airbnb it. How do you protect yourself against that?
There's a couple of different ways that you look at. You factor in, does the borrower currently have a residence? And you can review that based off of the tax returns if they own a property. So that's one way. You look at the size of a house that they're currently in. Are they doing a lateral move, or are they downgrading? That they're in a single family home and all of a sudden they want to buy a condo down at the beach. It's an investment property. But there's definitely a variance in rates from an investment property to primary residence. Technically, it's hard to utilize Airbnb or VRBO income in the beginning because there's no consistency of it. However, once you file a tax return, you're going to put on their rental income, whether it's VRBO, Airbnb, or just a annual renter. So we determine that income based off of the tax return and how they file it. But there's people that do try to get away with calling it a primary residence. You got to do your homework, right? The other thing is, hey, if you live in Atlantic City or you live in Philadelphia and you're trying to buy a primary residence in Margate or Ventnor and you're commuting, that's a long commute, right? So you look at everything, you look at all aspects of the loan to determine, whether it's going to be a primary or secondary home.
Plus,
right.
don't they have to sign something at closing saying I state I'm going to live in this or use this property?
Yep.
I know there's something that they sign.
There's a page in there that says that they're going to occupy the property within 60 days of closing as a primary residence. So they do sign that. They also can buy it as a second home, which a lot of people do, and then they might have it for a year and say, hey, I want to rent it. Unfortunately, we have no control over that, right? Because in the beginning, they are using it as a second home versus a straight investment property.
Okay. It's the Down Beach Buzz Real Estate Webcast, and Sherry Lilienfeld from eXp Realty's here. She's also from Apex Prime, and Paul Scollage from rate.com. Guaranteed rates for you. Let's see here. This is for Sherry. Commissioner Lance Landgraf of Ventnor believes that some are clearly running a motel business in a residential neighborhood. How do you chime in on that one? That's because he knows how important it is to have short-term rentals, but is he making a good point here? Let me just shut up. And what are your thoughts?
If you're renting out one night at a time, to multiple people, yeah, I don't know what you call a motel, but that is what they're doing. So, he's right. Yeah. That's what they're doing in a residential neighborhood, but it's up to the city to have the zoning restrictions in place for not doing that or changing these regulations for rental. Right now, the way it works is it is a business. You have to get a mercantile license from the city, which is a business license, and state that you are doing this. And right now you can do that as long as it's in an area you're able to do that. So he's right. It's like a motel. And to limit that, you have to make the longer, maybe make it a week or at least 3-day minimum rentals.
And tell me both, Paul and Sherry, short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, even private, they really help the real estate economy, even though it comes with some downsides if it's not run properly by a respectable landlord. In general, it boosts the economy and boosts home values, right?
Well, it's bringing revenue stream for people that maybe can't afford a second home in the beginning, and they're going to buy it as an investment property. But it definitely brings in different that more people are buying, right? More people are trying to buy in this market to be able to have a second home property. But I think overall it does. I think having a short-term rental, though, 1 day, 2 day, will definitely have an impact on the city itself. Like you're seeing all these comments that it's just bringing in the wrong crowd, right? That's what you're trying to avoid.
Okay. And I think, did we cover that properly here? My slides. Dum, bum, bum. One of my.
Is anybody commenting on this whole short-term?
Oh, they're all coming in, but they're all private. They all want to know about your personal life, and I just had to delete them from the
delete them
feed.
all, right? Shift delete.
Wait, so how many people were at that meeting? I unfortunately wasn't able to attend. So
I would say about 100.
Good.
Good, because I know I was telling everyone I know to attend because they should have a say and they should hear what's going on. So.
But if you missed it, you can certainly go up to the Ventnor municipal website or go to DownbeachBUZZ.com. And what I did was I extracted a good hour's worth of comments because it was about 2.5 hours, the meeting. So not many people want to listen to 2.5 hours, but because I am who I am, I like to go in and listen to those clips and narrow it down for you. So, how about are we interested in new condo rules? So Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty and Apex Prime and Paul Skollich of Guaranteed Rate, they're going to talk about the new condo rules, or should I say just they're updated. I think they're a bit more strict. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so there's been some serious changes to the condo market itself. And I think if you all recall, you go back to, I think, December of 2021, where we had that condo that fell downtown or down in Florida, which was a major impact to the condo rules and regulation. And one of the big things that we're seeing now today is the first topic there is deferred maintenance now. So, you know, when you're looking at condos and which condos are financeable, which condos are not, it's called a warrantable condo versus a non-warrantable condo. And the 3 points there are just 3 main bullet points that would make a condo non-warrantable. So deferred maintenance, they're going to look at the maintenance program, maintenance schedules, making sure it's up to code, up to speed. That was one of the main reasons why the condo fell in Florida, right? So deferred maintenance is a main point. Like, for instance, if you have a 3-unit condo standalone and one of the roofs are bad in one of the standalone units, it impacts the salability of the other units as a whole. So it's very important, if you're looking at a condo, to talk to Sherry. I can look up the association names to find out if there's been any conventional or financing that has been done recently in that development that would allow us to finance. Okay. The next topic, reserves and reserve budgets, 2 major points that really have a major impact on being able to get financing. So, question.
Yes. Did Sherry misspell the word maintenance?
Nope.
Was that spelled properly? It looks wrong.
I didn't type that. You're gonna blame me.
Raise your right hand.
Listen, it looks wrong, but is it right?
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
don't want
told you what to put in there.
But it looks wrong, doesn't it? Is that the way you spell maintenance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it looks good, Coach. Well done, Coach.
It's maintain, like maintenance. All right. Anyway.
Well, it was good. It was a good segue for our reserve budget.
I'm sorry.
So reserves. So reserves are a major part of it. Having a 10% reserve budget. So, for instance, they look at all the maintenance that's going on in the development, and there has to be a 10% reserve requirement to allow for any maintenance and so forth. The budget, again, is part of that. You know, the other big one that I didn't put on there, but we can talk about is litigation. So litigations also have a major impact. We don't want to lend on a property that is being sued and has an impact on the resale value. So, you know, deferred maintenance, reserve budget, litigation. The other one would be the influx of investors, right? So if there's more than 35 to 40% investors and investor influence in a development, that also has impacts the ability for a warrantable condo. Condos are very, very tricky. It's not as easy as it used to be. You could have done financing in 2021, and unfortunately, things have changed for the 2022 budget, which would impact what we're seeing in 2023. So I would really just have, open conversation with Sherry asking about the association name, and we can look up and see if there was any financing done in there. On interest rates, when you're talking about condos, they have what's called LLPAs, which is loan level price adjustments. Interest rates are much higher on condos unless you put 25% down. Big variance in interest rates. So I would recommend on any condo that you're looking at, you would be able to put down the 25% if you can get to it. But again, the deferred maintenance, major impact on being able to get financing done in most condo developments.
I just wanted to say something about that deferred maintenance. People probably are like, why would you defer maintenance? So what some people may not realize, the condo board, those are voluntary positions. Those are people that live in the building, in the condo, and they volunteer for that role. And the biggest thing everybody else doesn't want to hear is the word assessment. So if there's deferred maintenance, you don't have money in the reserve. That reserve is for maintenance items that come up that aren't your regular daily maintenance.
Traditional.
They're not your traditional.
Correct.
So there's a big expense, new roof, or something major happens. Or what happened in Florida is the structural engineers would come in and said, you have exposed, rebar and it's rusted and you need to fix this. But the condo boards, they don't want to be the ones to say, hey, we have to do an assessment. So they defer it and they defer it. And sometimes it's deferred too long. But now it really is getting, the good part of it is you're not going to see really these condos deferring stuff that needs to get done because nobody wants to be in the news the way they were in the news. And those condo board members, to some extent, have liability as well. So anyway, that's why there is deferred maintenance. That is why sometimes there are assessments. But if you're in a condo, you're going to want people who are running the association and the board to fix it. But it's great. And I always tell people, even if you're paying cash, you need to look at these things also. You need to look at what came up in the board meetings. What is their deferred maintenance? When is their next engineering inspection? Or is there an assessment? And what are the reserves like? So they're important whether you have a mortgage or not. And it's good that the mortgage companies are protecting you. And the reason why interest rates are higher for condos, I think it's more of a risk.
It's risk-based factor. Yep.
It's a risk-based factor. It's more of a risk for them because, again, you're depending on other people to make decisions about that investment. You're depending on the board and the property managers to make decisions about your investment. So it's a higher risk than someone who's living in a single family home and the roof starts to leak and they're going to fix it.
Yeah. Yep. The other thing, when we had the crisis in 07, 08, there was a lot of people that just walked from condos, right? Whether they were on an investment side of things, which is why Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have those loan level price adjustments involved in condos. But you can overcome that by putting the 25% down. But a good point here too is that cash buyers also have to look at the resale value, which is important. A 1 to 4 unit condo does not have to follow any of these guidelines. So your typical side-by-side in Margate, Ventnor, Longport, your side-by-side would be considered a condo. The good news is you're not following any of these deferred maintenance and budgets and so forth. 1 to 4 units does not require these new condo regulations. We're looking at the larger condo developments. There you go.
Speaking of condos, we got a sweet one on the Atlantic City Boardwalk. And a guy named Nucky may have lived in this stately high-rise sometime in the back. Tell us about it, Sherry.
Okay, so this is the Ritz condominiums. The name Ritz is not an accident. This building used to be the Ritz-Carlton. It opened up in 1921. If anyone has ever walked into the Ritz, it's it still has that grandeur of the old days. It has big ballroom, and has beautiful, big elaborate steps that people would come down. A lot of prominent people went there. You got to go back. So let me tell you about this unit.
So I'm gonna jump ahead to the main common area first.
Oh, okay.
Because I
Perfect.
know we're kind of out of.
Yeah, we're talking about the Ritz.
Yeah, so I just wanted to see if you had all the toilet
I do.
seats
I have
down.
some pictures.
No,
of
I
the
just want to
common
make sure.
area.
When I'm trying to go in
There
the
you
same.
go.
Because you talked
Well,
about
that's
this
part of
first.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the next one too has like more of the lobby. I
The
mean,
exquisite look.
it's just so exciting. This doesn't even show like the ballroom and the big windows. There's the lobby and the steps. That was Christmas time. They decorate it really nicely. So this particular unit is
Okay, so you're gonna have to let me get to the picture, and then you can let me just.
okay.
I don't want
Yeah,
everybody
that's
to be.
great.
One,
Stop
yeah.
right there. So in the Ritz, there are only 8 units that are 2-story units along the front there. So along the front, there's 8 units. We call them townhouses. They actually have a private entrance. You can come in off the boardwalk to private entrance with an elevator. And this particular unit is the only one with that deck. You see that deck? It's a 30 and a half by 11 and a half deck. It is big. It is the only unit in the building. The other thing is where I circled, those are actually the windows. The top of them are in the bedrooms, and the bottom are right here. Like you can see, this is the living area. It's open. Those windows are brand new. The owner just replaced them. So, I mean, look at that view. You get to see, you're right there in the action. And I love the air show. I wish, I want to be there at the air show. Yeah. So, so there's the stairway going upstairs, and then the kitchen's in the back, and there's step. But if you walk up these stairs, you will see, if you keep going a little bit, you will see what you wake up to. But look at that view. I mean, that's not photoshopped.
Nope,
So
that's great.
that's a kitchen, huge kitchen with an island.
What's the total square footage?
1,500 square feet, which is also a really nice. Okay, stop right there.
There we go.
So this is what you can wake up to or fall asleep to, or whatever it is, whatever time of day you sleep. But do you see the detail over the windows? It is just so exquisite. And you have southeast exposure. So you can watch the sun come up. You can go and watch it come down on the other side. It's just amazing. And this is the guest bedroom, has these windows as well. This is from the guest bedroom to the main bedroom. So, I mean, that's it. I thank you for letting me do a little. Oh, it has 2.5 baths too. So upstairs, each bedroom has its own bath, and then downstairs there's a half bath. That's the half bath. So and your own washer and dryer, and of course that's not in the unit, but that would be nice.
Big Mel, you ready to buy? I'll get you a mortgage. Come on.
Oh man.
All right,
Anyway.
all right. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can reach out to Sherry for that's going to go fast because how many units anywhere in this area are like that? I just think it's a spectacular
There's nothing
place.
like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Nothing. And all utilities are included in the maintenance fee except for cable and Wi-Fi. I mean, I loaded it last night and I got calls when I woke up. So
Yeah, Sherry, you are the master of pricing, but I think that someone's going to snap it up at $349.
we hope so.
And it's been on the market for how long?
I don't know, 10 hours?
10 hours.
Oh,
It'll
Well,
be going
hours.
by tomorrow.
All right, everybody, let's get out of here. We have 40 minutes here. So thanks for
Ooh.
tuning in to the Down Beach Buzz Real Estate Webcast. For more details, go to DownbeachBUZZ.com. And Paul, how can people find you and engage with you?
You can actually see my phone number there on the bottom left-hand side. You got 416-5958 or paulscollege@rate.com.
Let me see if I have, I think I created some slides. I'm sorry.
I just want to say something about rate.com.
Mhm.
Every Friday, I get an email from them. We are open for your clients this weekend. They are available when you need them. And that's why Paul is my mortgage partner.
He's the man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here because it's getting late here.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, everybody. Thank you.